This is really showing the basic musical theater-ness.
Exposed.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to After Broadway, the podcast where we deep dive into anything and everything musical theater from the comfort of my car. I'm Tara.
I'm Stefania.
And in today's episode, we are back with another ranking episode. And this time, it's all about our favorite I Want songs. So this has been on a list for 3 years. And I don't know why we avoided it. But now, researching for it, I kind of understand why we avoided it.
It's very hard because the definition is broad, but also not broad.
Yeah.
It speaks to very specific character songs. Let me give the definition that we've kind of been working on. So it is a song that a character sings when they are kind of dissatisfied with where they are in the moment and they want to change their life. They're dreaming of something different. And sometimes they know exactly what they're dreaming of, and sometimes they have no idea what they're dreaming of. But they are unhappy with where they are and they want to move towards something different. It usually comes kind of first quarter, maybe first third of the show, though this rule can be broken in many different ways.
I've broken the rule, just so you know.
You've broken the rule. I'm looking at my list.
Only one of my songs on the list has broken the rule. The only rule that was broken was in the first quarter of the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes a composer or writers will play with the form depending on the character's motivations or their characteristic, but typically they're kind of in the first quarter, first third. I think I'm mostly in... everything is in the first act, at least. Yeah.
Something else that we also discussed the other day was that there could be an argument that every single song in a musical is an I Want song. So.
Well, not every single song, but we were talking about this and we said, is it on all these best of lists? Mm-hmm. And it's it doesn't have to be, but you have to be able to defend its position when you're bringing it to this list.
Yes.
So you have to be able to back it up.
Yes. I mean, an example of that, I don't think that this show is on either of our lists, but Legally Blonde, we were discussing the other day. That entire show is an I Want show. So
right. Well, because her motivations change throughout the show. What she thinks she wants in the beginning is very different from what she wants at the end. So she has I Want songs throughout.
And every character has different motivations and different wants throughout that show. So yeah, it is interesting. Again, rules are meant to be broken. Also, we are prepared to defend our cases on these songs. And disclaimer, this is my most mainstream musical theater list of all time. I am embarrassed about it, but
Basic
also...
B.
This is what I listen to, guys.
I will say we never claim to be experts. We just claim to be lovers and appreciators.
This is our personal
that might be evident
list.
Today.
Yes.
I will also say, though, shout out to me, all 5 of my songs are from before the year 2000.
Not me. When I said mainstream, I meant mainstream.
You went mainstream.
Yeah.
One more thing is that these songs, well, actually a couple more things, but these songs, I think, inform the journey of the character. So every decision that they make throughout the rest of the show, you can look back on this song that they sung and understand their motivation and understand why they're doing something. And I think they kind of unlock these shows and I think my number one, is Speak, which we'll get to much later, but that was why it was written, to kind of unlock this character and unlock this story, because it wasn't working before. And once we had this character's motivation, the whole musical made much more sense.
Yes.
The I Want songs are a staple of the Disney musical.
Yes.
An absolute staple of the Disney musical. I saw an interview with Stephen Schwartz where he said, you can't have a musical without an I Want song. And I'm interesting, because I feel like he writes some wonderful ones. Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about it.
we'll talk about Mr. Schwartz.
Schwartz.
We just had a couple of rules that we needed to follow. Number 1, no jukebox musicals. So they had to be written for the story. And we decided that movies could be included, but they had to have been performed on stage. So something like Moana is a no, but something like
a great I Want song.
A wonderful.
Not
but something like The Little Mermaid is a yes, because even though it was a movie first, it became a musical.
But I also think in the sense of that rule, it really only applies to the Disney musicals.
Absolutely. I mean, this was a way to get the Disney musicals in there because they are so pivotal to those to those stories.
Shara did approve both of our lists. As I said, this is the first time we have zero crossovers. So congrats to us because, you know, in the past we've had to change like 2 songs on a list and it's really hard when there's not that many. After we go through our top 5s, we will also, as always, give some honorable mentions. Here we go. Steph, your number 5.
My number 5, I actually recently switched this to my number 5. It was higher, it brought down to my number 5.
Whoa.
This is a musical. Whoa. Last minute swap. Because I was listening to my number 5 and I was like, sorry, this got to go higher. I was crying.
Fair.
Number 5 is from a musical that is currently running on Broadway. It is a classic Kander and Ebb musical from the musical Chicago, the song Roxy. So this
Never thought we would see Chicago make it on a list ever.
You know, I'm not personally crazy about Chicago. I'm just
also the way that this was higher on your list is shocking to me.
I know. I brought it down to 5.
Where was it originally?
It was at 4.
Okay. Everyone relax.
Everyone calm yourself. So the song Roxy from Chicago. We have the character of Roxy who is kind of living, as she said, her humdrum life until she accidentally, on purpose, murders someone who she's having an affair with. And you would think this would be the worst moment of her life. But instead it is maybe the greatest moment of her life because it has... It allowed her, it gave her the opportunity, and we can judge her all we want, but it gave her the opportunity to completely change her life. And I think a lot of times I want songs kind of right before or right after a life-changing moment. So her life-changing moment is going to prison for this man's murder. And she latches onto this murder of this man as a moment to become famous and become all these things. And she's always had these dreams of being famous and being known by everyone. And it is only once she has murdered someone that these dreams come to fruition. And this song is her kind of dreaming of it.
The name on everybody's lips is gonna be Roxy.
It's gonna be. She's like, okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity, like an original Kardashian. She's like, I'm gonna take this opportunity and turn it into gold.
I have a question though. I have a question for you because I am not super familiar with like the cast recording of Chicago, more the movie. This doesn't come in the first quarter, does it?
It comes, I would say, like maybe a third. It's in the first act. Let's confirm exactly.
Because I feel like it's pretty close to, I want to say like the end in the movie.
Oh, is it? I
could be wrong. I could be very wrong. It's been a while since I've watched Chicago.
We're gonna check.
Roxy,
it is kind of in like the last bit of the first act.
Yeah.
So, it's right as she's become this celebrity. She is trying to plan for her career in vaudeville, and her fame is growing as Velma's is subsiding. So it is kind of like in the first act. Not curious as to where it sits in the movie. I haven't seen the movie in such a long time.
I know, I could be remembering this incorrectly, but the only reason why I think it's kind of interesting that it does sit later is because, like, as you said, she has this celebrity moment, but it takes her quite a while to even have that sort of mentality. So it wouldn't make sense for her to sing on a I Want song any earlier in the show.
No, she doesn't even know that she's gonna have the opportunity to change her life. No, it's about, I would say...
Is it the same? It's probably the same.
I would say it's about the same. The same spot. So maybe like a third into the musical, maybe like 3/4 of the way through the first act is when she sings this song, Roxy. And it's this fantasy moment of her planning out her future life. Right now, she's literally like in prison, getting like on trial for murder. But she's thinking of bigger and better things that she wants to do after she leaves prison in her vaudeville career. Something that she couldn't even dream of before the events of the story start taking place. I also just love, like, this is not the only Fosse appearance on this list. I like the choreography of it is so good. It's so, like, the way it's like her and like these men kind of like tossing her around and like lifting her up is so fun. It's just like a great, fun, sassy song. Sometimes a lot of I Want songs feel very, wow, I just realized what your number 1 is. Even a lot of I Want Song seems very, like, muted a little bit. But because they come so early and you don't want to, like, give up everything right in the beginning. But this one is, like, not, like, a showstopper, but still has, like, so much personality and energy.
But it also, like, kind of is a showstopper.
It is a showstopper.
Because the scene is
right.
amazing. Like, everything about it, the letters of her name, like, the outfit she's wearing. It's, honestly, like, I have seen Chicago on stage. I've also seen, obviously, the movie. This is one of those cases. The movie is better, in my opinion.
I think the movie is really well crafted.
Renee Zellweger gives an iconic performance of Roxy specifically. So
she's great. That's the one I always listened to because it was the one that they were playing for us when I was taking dance classes. They would always play this version. Yeah. Anne Ranking, I believe, in the 1996 revival. I don't know who it is in 1975. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Your number 5.
Okay. My number 5 is the most mainstream of mainstream. This show sadly closed. I did see it twice on Broadway. And my number 5 I Want song is Just a Simple Sponge from SpongeBob SquarePants the Musical.
This did not come up on any of the lists I saw for some reason.
Literally none, but it is such an amazing I Want song.
It's so good.
I mean, I love this song regardless of it being an I Want song or not. I think we've talked about it before on an episode, but like...
Love this song. Panic at the Disco wrote that.
Like, Panic at the Disco did that. But
Brendan Urie, amazing.
Ethan Slater's performance is so good on this number, and again, like, the staging is so interesting because it's kind of simplistic, but at the same time, like, more elevated than other things that happen during the show. We've talked about, like, the people in the full, like, black outfits with the sponges, like, on their arms, becoming his, like, arms and legs. It's amazing. Is it on Amazon? I think it's on Amazon.
I think the filmed version is on Amazon, yes. Yeah. I do believe they also performed Simple Sponge on a talk show.
Yes.
I want to say The View.
Yeah.
So it's available.
I agree. So it is song 4 on the track listing of the original Broadway cast recording. And it is, to me, a show-stopping moment. It's also, like, to talk about this song plot-wise and, like, give the plot of what's actually happening is comical because, you know, it's SpongeBob, like... having issues in his life. He thinks the world is ending. He's not being, like, Mr. Krabs is bringing him down all the time. He just wants to be recognized for more than just a simple sponge. And I love the lyric. It's right before he gets into the best part of the song, which is the, like, no, I'm not a simple sponge. It's the, when the going gets tough, this sponge gets going. No, I'm not a simple sponge. And it's, like... so wholesome and heartwarming, but it's all about, like, as we had said in the definition of a dissatisfied life and hoping for a better tomorrow. And all he wants to do is, I mean, in this case, legitimately save Bikini Bottom, but, like, all he wants to do is, like, save the world and be more than just a sponge. So I love this song. Very mainstream. I'm very aware. But you know what? SpongeBob doesn't get enough credit for what they did for that show.
Never.
So I'm happy to bring it back.
This is a perfect example of our protagonist saying, I'm not like everyone else. I want to set myself apart. And that is kind of like a defining characteristic of I Want songs. I love that song.
Yeah, it's
so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your number 4.
My number 4. I'm wearing the shirt. For our video viewers, you can see I'm wearing the Lion King shirt. And the song I chose from the Lion King is I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Sung by Simba and what's his name? Zazu, yeah. Zazu?
The bird.
The bird. The toucan. Rowan Atkinson in the movie. This is kind of a different one because Simba is fated to be king. Mm-hmm. And he wants to be king. He wants no one to be telling him what to do, for him to be in charge. And as we know later in the story, he will get exactly what he wants, which is his father. The only way for him to become king is for his father to die. And then when that happens, obviously it's devastating for him. So it's sometimes what you want turns out to not actually be what you want. But it is kind of the dreams of a young character, of a young kid, kind of the moment before his life changes, dreaming of this future. He is dissatisfied with the status quo that is waiting and being just the prince. This song is just wonderful. It's so much fun. I had forgotten how much fun
Gonna be
this
a
music.
mighty king.
It's so
good.
sweet. It's so cute.
I know.
And then you also have kind of Zazu, like, kind of tearing him down a little bit, or like knocking him down a peg, being like, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't think you're quite ready for that yet. And he thinks he's ready, but he's not ready. He's not ready. And then when he gets what he wants, everything kind of falls apart around him. And I think you can understand, or you see how much he wanted to be king, and then when he gets it, his perspective on it changes, and he doesn't want that anymore. But you can always, everything that he does for the rest of the story, you can look back at this moment and kind of see his motivations and see why he chose different things. So I think it's just a wonderfully crafted song for a wonderful moment.
Yeah. For
our lion, Simba.
I agree. It's a very cute staged moment as well. As we know, my thoughts on the Lion King musical are not the best, but wow, we've had like 2 back-to-back musicals here from you that we like don't love, but here we are. It is a really great moment, and I think it's such to speak on the movie for a second, but like that animation is so good. It's like classic, but also you could see what they were doing by like playing with colors, and like it's just really fun. It's such a fun song.
The choreography of all the different animals in that moment. It is dancing, but because it's animals, they have so much more freedom to play with different movement styles. It's really fun.
Okay, my number 4. Hamilton has entered the chat.
Wow.
So, and I don't know if you have a Hamilton on your list, but if you do, it's obviously a different one than mine. So my number 4 is one that completely breaks the rule of the first quarter of the show. And of the 2 I Want songs in Hamilton, I have gone with the Aaron Burr Room Where It Happens I Want song. We've talked about this. This isn't an interesting I Want song in general because his first solo venture of Wait For It should be the I Want song, but he is waiting for the moment to have his I want to be in the room where it happens. Now, this one I feel like is quite literal to be like, I want.
Yes.
However, I think what makes it such a fantastic I Want song is that catharsis moment, that desperation from the character of Burr specifically. Obviously, we've seen this performed live a few times now, but nothing beats Leslie Odom Jr.'s The Room Where It Happens. Go watch it on Disney+. Like, literally, if you're going to just turn on a moment, that is the moment. He sounds so good. I love all of the runs towards the end of the song because it really does feel like, Hamilton is running out of time. But in this moment, it also feels like Burr is kind of like running out of time, and you hear the like desperation in the vocal performance, and I'm obsessed with it. Do I even reference what the other I Want song is? I'm afraid it's on your list.
It's not. Go ahead.
Okay, so the other I Want song is obviously My Shot. Hamilton sings it. That is in the first quarter of the show, so that does follow the trajectory of the journey. But I just think it's so smart to have your 2 main characters have these 2 vastly different but also at the same desperate I Want songs. Hamilton is desperate for something totally different than Burr, and it means something like more to him, obviously, but I really love the style, and I think it's so smart for Lin to do, to have Wait For It be first and then have us wait for this moment from Burr, and I love it. So
they're like contrasting motivations is very interesting. Obviously, like Alexander Hamilton came from much less than Burr did, so his motivation is so much different than Burr's motivation, and Burr has much more to lose than Hamilton does. So, and it also feels like Burr doesn't even realize what he wants until much later in the show. A song that's like not on my list, and I think like it can be argued like what is the I Want song, maybe the entire show is figuring out what you want, but something like Company is Bobby figuring out like what he wants. And at the end, I feel like Being Alive is the I Want song. He's listing things he wants, like someone to hold you too close, someone to hurt you too deep. Like these are, it's taken him 2 acts to figure out what he wants. And for Burr, it's the same. It's taken him an act and a half to figure it out and to be able to articulate it to the audience.
It also,
and I think playing with the form like really is smart to communicate to the audience the personality of the character.
Yeah, and I think like Lin obviously is such a huge fan of musical theater, and I would say that he's someone who has studied like the I Want songs, the opening numbers, all of that, the credentials that you need to make a good song. I feel like he knows that inside and out. So to break the mold and to say, no, I'm going to have this song here first as in a wait for it, and have you literally wait for Bird to sing his I Want song is genius. I also think that this song foreshadows the end of this musical. Obviously, we end on a click boom, and it feels very, ties it all together. I don't know. I think Hamilton is such an interesting show in general because I think we could literally go through every single one of those songs and place them into categories of where they fall in the musical theater like
it's so referential.
list of songs.
It's so referential.
Yeah. And intentionally, right? So it
references theater and rap and hip hop to create this like new genre.
Yeah. So
I was going to say this is my most basic pick, but it's not. My number 3 song, a song I absolutely love, is Waiting for Life from Once on This Island. This is perfect. It's so wonderful. It is like the standard definition of I Want song. She is literally waiting for life to begin. She's like, there's a lyric, let me pull it up, but there's a lyric where she's like, don't single me out and then forget me. T Moon feels like she's been chosen for this purpose, but she doesn't know what it was. This is very, I kind of put this in the same category as what my number 1 is that they want something, both these characters want something, but they don't know what they want yet. They know that they're meant for something bigger than the situation they're in, but they just don't know what it is yet. And this song just one number soars, absolutely soars.
The vocal performance by every single person that has played T Moon, especially that part that you're speaking on, it like that is the moment of like relief. Let me just sing.
The riff on like forget me.
Yes.
Oh god, so good. T Moon has lived a very ordinary life except for the moment where she was brought to her parents, and she's like, this ordinary life can't be all that there is for me. Why? I was meant for something bigger than this. And this is her song asking for it. And then immediately after, all of the events come into play. It is this kind of like, the person who sings these songs, they're almost like the chosen one. You know what I mean? Like they are like, I am...
No, it's true.
I am the main character. I am like, what is in store for me? We can say that about like, Simba. We can say that about T Moon. I don't know if I would say that about Roxy.
We can say that about SpongeBob.
We can say that about SpongeBob. Yes, they are these ordinary people who are chosen, whether by whoever, to kind of have this bigger purpose. And I love that she's just, the life that she's living is not big enough for her, and she is looking for something bigger. And it's just like a wonderfully crafted song. Aarons and Flaherty
did that.
Really, really gorgeous. Really, really gorgeous.
Yeah. I think that is the standout number from that show for sure. And again, it's so interesting to talk about these songs in general because as we've been saying this whole episode, they typically fall in the first third of the show. But a lot of them I found have fallen on the track listing in like song 3, song 4. So like really early, we're getting these like banger numbers. And sometimes the show lives up all the way through, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's very, like, interesting to take an approach like that, but it's just, like, the style of, how to craft a musical theater song. So I love that song, too.
They're usually early because they unlock the musical. They explain everything.
Yeah.
And everything kind of comes back to, if you're like, why is a character doing this? Why are they doing this? It's like, oh, come back to this moment where they said, this is what I want. Mm-hmm. And you, like, without it, it's missing a piece. It's missing a puzzle piece.
Yeah. Okay, my number 3, as I said, sticking to the mainstream musical theater arc here. This is a show that I have seen a couple times. I love the music. We've talked about it many times off and on during the course of this podcast. This is sung by the main character who is at like the lowest of lows and is hoping for a better tomorrow. And it is What Baking Can Do from Waitress. This is like, it's interesting because I think if you look at the lyrics of the song, you wouldn't necessarily be like, I want. But at this moment, she is hoping for a better tomorrow. And through her baking, is what gets her to that point. We've talked about the song before on episodes. It is such an amazing song. I love what Bacon can do. It is such an amazing vocal performance. And I just think it's like the definition of being dissatisfied and hoping for more. And I think that the staging of this, if anyone who's listening has seen it on stage, is so interesting, especially when we have those like silhouette vignettes of her parents in the background and you see how bad life was. And obviously the catharsis moment is when she slaps the dough with the rolling pin as if like that's it. Like you'll see how happy I can be and let me show you and I'll show you that. I mean, it takes a long time for her to actually find happiness in this show. So but
everything she does is to try and find happiness. Everything she does is to reach that goal.
Yeah. I love this song. So, and it is like, it's a fantastic song. So, but again, one that's not on like the list of lists of I Want songs. You have to like dig deep for it.
Yes, I love that. That's on like my very, very long list. You know, I put together a big list.
Yeah, me too.
Of songs, like a really big list, and then I start like starring and highlighting and stuff. But that's it. It's a really great one. I love that song in general. Okay, my number 2. We're reaching my top 2 here. This song is from the musical Sweet Charity.
Oh my God!
Wow, a deep cut today.
Yeah.
It's called There's Gotta Be Something Better Than This. So this comes at a moment where Charity has been in kind of an unfortunate situation. She thought she'd met a nice man and then something kind of unfortunate happens and she goes and tells her friends what happened and her friends are like, we can't be stuck being dance hall hostesses and dancers forever. We have to get out of here. Charity has explained that her situation as a dance hall hostess comes due to the fickle finger of fate, that she kind of had no choice, that she fell into this, that this was not, it was not her own agency that brought her to this. But when her friend Nikki is like, we have to there's gotta be something out there better than this. And there's a line that says, and when I find me some kind of life I can live, I'm gonna get out. And it's like, this is the first time where they've thought, we can't do this forever. We have to take control of our own lives. And again, another Fosse moment. Like, the choreography in this is great. In the movie, it's Shirley MacLaine, Rita Moreno, and someone whose name I'm forgetting. But just like 3 like amazing dancers, amazing singers, giving us everything we ever wanted. It's just like a really, really fantastic song. And it feels urgent. It feels so urgent.
This is gonna make my number 2 feel so like basic. I have never even heard that song before, so a new one song for me. Okay, my number 2 is from a musical that I've seen twice. I think you've seen 3 or 4 times now. And though it is not the traditional on paper I Want song from this musical, I will defend it. And it is You and Me, But Mostly Me from the Book of Mormon. Now, the traditional I Want song is Saltale Cassiti that gets sung in Act 2 because it is like hoping for a better tomorrow. But I do think that this song, although like kind of a duet, but I don't really consider it a duet because Elder Cunningham is just like tagging along for the ride. Elder Price wants to be the Mormon that changed all of mankind. So I think it is an I Want song for that reason.
This is what I consider the I Want song because it falls in the traditional spot too.
Yes.
Whereas Salt Lake City is much later because we don't get to know her later. This is so interesting. Interesting.
I love this song so much. As soon as I saw Book of Mormon, I was like, this is the song. You know, everyone's like, I believe, hello. I mean, the finale is great, but I was like, excuse me, guys, You and Me, But Mostly Me is the moment. Also, Andrew Rannells on this song specifically sounds so good, and I feel like this is a foreshadow to my number 1, but you know, there's a lot of like tones of other musicals that come up in this in the song. I mean, on your list also, like, we reference Lion King and Book of Mormon, so I feel like in this show, we've never like truly talked about Book of Mormon on the podcast, but there are tons of musical theater references, and it's very intentional. And although like not written by two musical theater guys, obviously written by the creators of South Park.
No, it is written by musical theater people.
Kristen and Bobby
Parker,
Lopez.
Bobby Lopez is number one, and Trey Parker is very much as well.
I guess, but in my mind, I'm like Book of Mormon. I'm like also South Park. Like they are.
Yes.
That's the known for thing.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker have written many musical episodes for
South Park.
Park. So I believe it's Trey, who is like a huge fan of musical theater. And so when they wrote Book of Mormon, you know, almost every single one of those songs, you can find kind of its parallel in another famous musical. We won't talk about the parallel to You and Me, But Mostly Me, because I think we're going to get there.
Yes, we will.
But the parallel to Salt Lake City is part of your world.
Yes.
From The Little Mermaid. Just the like kind of like fantasy, dreamy, like that beginning, like notes. It very much, like they took these, it's so smart, I think, because the audience is familiar with these songs and with these tropes and with these different sounds. And so when you go into see Book of Mormon and you hear those same musical references in a different song, you automatically know the character's motivation. And so when you hear You and Me, Mostly Me, and you hear all these notes of this other big I Want song, you understand that this is the character dreaming of their future. I love You and Me, Mostly Me. It is so funny. It absolutely slaps.
It's so good. It's so well written. The orchestration of it is like incredible. I also think that having both of them sing it and, you know, like Elder Cunningham just along for the ride is very
and
much.
I can stand next to you and watch.
Exactly, but it's one of those things that like, although
it's his I Want song too. He just wants to be included. He just wants to be a part of something.
I mean, yes, but I don't think there's enough like vocal performance from him to actually give it as an I Want song.
Elder Price wants accolades. He wants fame. He wants attention. Elder Cunningham's biggest want is just to have a friend.
Yes, totally.
And that comes through in the song too.
I just think that the reason that like it might not traditionally follow the definition of an I Want song is because like Elder Price in the moment is not dissatisfied with his life. He's very happy to be wherever they are. Like
he thinks this is just the next step in what is inevitable.
Yes.
He thinks like
obviously,
fame,
like
fortune, going to Orlando is just obviously what's going to happen to him.
And then things obviously go like completely wrong. This is also a show that like we have discussed after seeing it many times. You're like, is it good? But the cast recording, amazing. These songs are so good. And I really think that I never thought that like a Book of Mormon song would be in a top 5 on one of my lists, but then going through it and looking at the I Want songs, it was like, I actually like really, really love this song and will pick it out all the time and listen to on its own. And I just think it's such a good like journey song for the character. And as we've said on this entire episode, you know, it sets up for the rest of what he hopes his journey as a Mormon will be. It doesn't turn out that way, but he does like set up the rest of the show in this song. So I love it. I want to be the Mormon who changed all
Yes, we've talked about many times that this is a show that I don't think holds up to repeat viewings. And I think a lot of the comedy is very dated. But
this was a show that we discussed last year, like, would this even reopen?
Come back. Yeah, and I think they did do a lot of edits to it. But because each of these is such a well-crafted musical theater song, it really saves a lot of it. Particularly something like this, something like our Act 1 finale, Man Up.
I Believe.
Many songs we've talked about. I Believe. Just fantastic songs. Okay. Are we here for my number 1?
Yeah, we're here.
The greatest I Want song to ever exist.
I mean, we argue on this because I think mine is the greatest I Want song to ever exist.
Okay, Mr. Schwartz, we can move on later.
Yes, what's your number 1?
This song is kind of back in the mainstream consciousness a little bit because there was recently a film adaptation of this musical.
Oh my god, I can't believe
we're talking
this is
about
your number 1.
West Side Story. Okay, the I Want song from West Side Story is Something's Coming that Tony sings, and I think this is perfect. It is a perfect I Want song. This was a song that was a late addition to the musical West Side Story. They felt that the character of Tony, they didn't have a grasp on him. They're like, why is he doing anything? I don't understand what is going on. And Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein, kind of late in the process, in previews, and they're out of town, wrote this song in one day for the character to define, to create who he is. And this is the perfect example. Tony is disillusioned with the Jets, with gang life, and he is seeing a future without the Jets, but he does not know how to get there or what to do. He's trying, he's working at Doc's shop, he's trying not to involve himself. I was watching the clip from 6 by Sondheim yesterday because that's one of the songs that is the 6 songs, and Stephen Sondheim was saying most of the lyrics, he wanted things that had forward motion, you know, around the corner or whistling down the river or like a cannonball, these things that were moving. And this is Tony, who he does not know what's coming, but he knows that his life is about to change and he wants it to change. He wants something to happen. I just think it's like if we're talking about the perfect definition of what an I Want song is, it is this. It is something's coming.
I mean, I knew this was going to be on your list, which is why it's not on my list. I agree. It is an amazing I Want song. I think you can argue that there are a few I Want songs in West Side Story. Sure. I would say, like, America is an I Want song. There's another one I was reading yesterday, but now I can't remember what it is.
So some people would say, like, Tonight would define Tonight, like, between them, like, together, what they both want together. I just think, like, Something's Coming is the traditional, like, it checks every single box. Like, no rules have been broken in the I Want song to create this song. It is, like, the perfect encapsulation of what it is.
The other thing about this song, and I'll speak to it in a second on my number one, which I think it's very similar, the way that the music is crafted, is that the sound of this sounds like something is coming. It's very on your toes. Like, it keeps you tense and waiting for more. And again, I'll discuss like the version of that for my number one, but it's very interesting to have your instrumental music match the lyrics and also feel like I'm waiting for something here.
It feels like it's propelling. It's propelling you forward.
Yeah.
It's really great. There's another lyric. It says, like, it's only just out of reach. Like, he's, like, reaching, but he can't grab it yet. He doesn't know what it is yet. And obviously it will be, you know, the end of his life. But
the drama.
The drama. Take it up with Shakespeare. But yeah, I just think it's, like, such a wonderful song. And I know even Sondheim himself thought that this was, you know, kind of the masterpiece for him lyrically of this show.
Yeah. It's great. My number one, literally no surprise to anyone except for you until you figured out halfway through this episode that it was my number one. It is obviously The Wizard and I from Wicked. I just think if we're talking about, again, like the perfect I Want song for a character, you can't write something better than this song. It is the definition of a character that is dissatisfied, hoping for a better tomorrow. It also comes exactly where we need it to be. And I think that there are arguments that there are multiple I Want songs in Wicked. Some would say that Popular is one for Galinda. I don't know that I 100% agree on that. No. If we're talking about like the I Want song, it is this. And I do think in what I was just saying about, you know, like the instrumental of how Something's Coming feels like something is coming. For The Wizard and I, it's when we are first introduced to that instrumental of the Unlimited section, which becomes our theme that shows up all the way through, all the way to Defying Gravity, all the way through to the end. And it is like Elphaba just thinking, not that something is like coming better, but like hopeful for a better tomorrow of like who will understand me for what I am, whatever it is that I am. It is, I mean, it wasn't until we saw that performance at Roy Thompson Hall where we both like felt something listening to this song.
That was amazing.
But when you sit there and you do get that moment where you actually like feel this character's excitement to actually be accepted for once in her life, it's so exciting. And I think it is like, the lyrics are amazing, but the score behind it is like masterfully done. It is such an amazing underscore to a song. And I think like in all of my years of loving Wicked, The Wizard and I has like always been the one. So it was like an obvious choice for it to be number one on my list.
I do think The Wizard and I is an amazing I Want song. The line that stands out to me is like, and then I'll meet the wizard, what I've waited for since birth. Like, she has wanted someone to see her the way Madame Morrible seems to be seeing her for her entire life. She's been invisible until this moment. And it's like very heartbreaking. I remember the first time I saw Wicked, I saw it on Broadway with Miss Jackie Burns singing as Elphaba, a great first Elphaba. And I remember crying at the song, thinking, wow, I can't believe she gets to go on stage and sing this song every night. Like, it's such a amazing musical theater song, like an amazing moment. Like, it serves the story so well, but it also, just as a performer, to get to sing something like that, amazing.
It's interesting too. Shout out to Sentimental Men podcast, because any Elphaba that they've had on their show, they talk about, are you a Wizard and I Elphaba? Are you a Defying Gravity Elphaba? Are you a No Good Deed Elphaba? And it's so interesting to hear from each of them which one they are. And the ones that are the Wizard and I Elphabas have that exact feeling of like, I can't believe I get to sing a song like this. And I think it is such an amazing builder song, because when we get to that, and I'll stand there with the wizard, that whole moment, it is like such a sense of relief for this character that obviously, again, like, doesn't pan out exactly the way that she wants it to.
Nope.
But you also, I feel, don't have another moment in the show, maybe a little bit of like I'm Not That Girl, but like Elphaba alone on stage singing for her life is basically like what it is. I also feel like she feels so youthful in this song in comparison to the rest of the show. So you get that real sense of like hope and desperation in a good way for a better future, because this is right out of the top. Like this is her entrance moment basically, when she runs down with the suitcase, and you see her a bit with like her dad and her sister, and you realize like her life situation. But it isn't until this song that you realize that like it will be okay to be different once I get out of the bad situation that I'm living in. So it'll be interesting to see Cynthia sing this in the movie. I again hope that we can get that like youthful vibe that I want for this song. I'm not sure that we will, but you know.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what direction they go. Yeah. I mean, her vocally, she's amazing. So
it's gonna sound incredible.
It's gonna sound great.
Exactly.
Like looking at these lists, like, you know, very rarely do any of these characters get what they want. You know.
I know. Tragic. Truly. It's tragic.
You can say maybe SpongeBob gets what he wants.
Yes.
You can say maybe, I don't know. But that's really it. I'm out of people who get maybe like.
Does Jenna get what she wants at the end? Like a little
kind bit. Of. You know, it's muddled, but yes. Yeah. I know she gets to have her baby, and she escapes her relationship.
There's never like a clear, easy path for any of these characters, and if they do get what they want at the end, they've overcome all of these obstacles to get there, which is it's very interesting. I don't think every song on like the long list is that, but the ones that we've chosen, yes, like
because that's the more interesting path for these characters to take, for them to want something and to realize it's not so easy or so simple.
Yeah.
And then, you know, some of these are tragedies.
Okay, if you were to have like a number 6 spot.
Okay,
what are we doing?
They're going to be the same. My number 6 is Corner of the Sky from Pippin.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
The reason it wasn't in my top list. I thought it was going to be in your top 5, so I took it out of mine. You probably thought the same, so like we just put it as number 6.
I think it's just like, again, talking about Mr. Schwartz.
Welcome back, Steven. Yeah.
Welcome back. I was reading, I think I mentioned this interview that I saw with Stephen Schwartz saying that he thinks they're like one of the most important elements of a musical, and he knows how to write a really, really great one. So yeah, Corner of the Sky, even that high note right at the end, he's like, you know, everything has a season, everything has its song, but like, where's mine? What about me? Why don't I have a season or yet? And it's like, I Want songs are often very relatable too. You know, this is something that will come up that comes up so often. It's like, why does everyone else seem to be having a purpose, but not me? Where's mine? So Corner of the Sky is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, also my, like, if I had a number 6 spot, it would be Corner of the Sky. Again, another, like, builder of a song, and I love it too. Okay, like, another honorable mention. I'm, like, looking at my long list here to see what I want to even say. Do you have one, like, ready to go?
Something that I was thinking about was the song Astonishing from Little Women.
On my long list, too. Yeah.
This is interesting because it is the Act 1 finale, right? This comes after the pivotal moment where Laurie proposes to Jo, and Jo kind of reevaluates her life in that moment. She wants to be astonishing. She wants to do something. And it made her reconsider. And I think it's just so powerful. Like, Sutton's vocals on this, amazing.
The best ever. Yeah.
I'll find where I belong. Like, every single one is about belonging to something, finding somewhere to belong to. And this is a perfect example of that.
Let's bring Areds and Flaherty back into the conversation. This is a song that I don't listen to all the time, but when I've seen it twice on stage, it is definitely, again, definition of an I Want song. Does not follow the path of, I mean, it's the Act 1 finale. It's obviously Journey to the Past. This is
Hearts Don't
such, like, it is such a good I Want song. It is, I mean, shout out to Christy Altomore for giving that performance, because you feel everything that she is singing in that song. When she sings, like, let this be a sign, let this song be mine, like, let me take you to the past. Like, it is very, to find a better life. That's all she wants, is to find a better tomorrow. And I mean, we can argue that on every single song on our list, but I do think that one is up there of, like, a really great vocal performance, a really great, underscore, and then the lyrics just give you everything that you want in an I Want song.
So a kind of another perfect example of an I Want song is from Little Shop of Horrors, Somewhere That's Green, written by Howard Ashman, Alan Menken.
Another extremely tragic end to the I Want song, right?
Yes. They never get what they want, but you know what? She kind of does.
Yeah.
Because she's in a plant, which is green. So, you know, if you read it literally,
yes,
she gets it. Somewhere That's Green. It's a very simple I Want. She doesn't want anything huge or big. She just wants something just a little bit better than what she's currently living with.
Yeah.
And that's why it makes it so tragic. It's just really, really beautifully written. And when you think of, you know, Howard Ashman, Alan Menken, who wrote this, who also wrote Part of Your World for The Little Mermaid, because these songs, I think, have, like, such huge similarities. They take the same function in each story, and they even sound quite similar.
Yeah.
One is obviously a much more mature story than this one for children, but they both, it's interesting that these songs that are so similar are in such different stories, to show that kind of, like, all stories kind of have the same elements, the same parts to them.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, we haven't, like, this is on my long list. We haven't even discussed, like, A Part of Your World properly, but, like, that is the I Want song of I Want songs.
The blueprint.
It is exactly, like, it is the one that set us all up for everything else. And it is true. And I know you just said that, like, obviously Somewhere That's Green is more mature, but I would argue that, like, that song is more mature than we think. Like, Ariel is,
the character of Ariel is a teen.
When you put it in the context of the movie, like, obviously it's very young, but if you take it out and you, like, dissect the lyrics, it is, like, everything that we've said this entire episode. Like, the character feeling the need to belong, to be part of that world. That's all that she wants. And it is interesting, especially when you listen to there's another one that you Salt Lake City. Like, it is interesting when you listen to that song and Somewhere That's Green and Part of Your World, and you're like, wow, these all sound almost the exact same. We didn't even mention the You and Me, But Mostly Me is The Wizard and I, Defying Gravity.
Yes.
The underscoring is that. It just is.
When you listen to them back to back, it's crazy. Like,
it's amazing.
The momentum of it is so good.
Yeah, so I do think that, like, Part of Your World is on, like, the playbill list. I'm pretty sure it's, like, number 1 in the list of I Want songs.
It is one of the best. Kind of like a cheesy one is from the Wedding Singer, the musical.
Somehow this show just keeps coming back.
Keeps coming back. The song Someday that Julia sings, just like dreaming of her future wedding. And again, another kind of very simple dream, a very simple want of her wedding and how she wants her family to be and everything. And this is a love story. It's a romantic comedy. So she kind of does get what she wants in the end, but she doesn't get it in the way that she thinks she's going to get it. And so I think that's what makes an interesting story. But Someday is like a really, really pretty song. Laura Benanti sounds really, really pretty on it. I don't, she said she thinks she was miscast in this, but vocally, beautiful, stunning.
An I Want song that I thought for a second would be on your list, but then realized that you had used it in a previous list. I Hope I Get It, a chorus line.
It was a thought. A great one.
The title of the song itself is the I Want song. Like, it is written for you. I hope I get it. Like, that is all that they want.
I mean, speaking of a chorus line, like, does this fit the definition? Because it comes much later in the show, but just the way the show is structured, the music in the mirror.
Yes, I know. I thought about this as well.
All I want is the chance to dance.
Yes.
Because she had gotten a leading role before, and then she wasn't getting any roles, and all she wanted was to be able to dance. And it's like, I love that because she sings it, but then she also expresses her want through movement. It's gorgeous.
Another one that's on my list is one that we have talked about many times, last year specifically, because, we did an episode on Miss Janine Tesori. I Know It's Today from Shrek. That is such a great I Want song. Fiona is looking, again, for that better future. She is stuck in a tower. We also get the I Want song from the 3 different stages of her life where she is suffering all of these years before she actually gets rescued. And again, actually, she is one that ends up happy. She gets what she wants by the end. Although she didn't know that she wanted it. She didn't know she wanted it.
Not in the way that she thought.
No.
She thought she wanted to be a princess forever or a human forever, and her happiness ended up with her being an ogre forever.
Yes. It's also interesting, again, with like talking about like the instrumental underscoring of these songs, the theming that comes through in the I Want songs sometimes. I Know It's Today shows up again in a song that we love, Who I'd Be. It is like the pivotal moments of these songs. You like take them and you bring them through you along the journey of the musical story. I love that song. I love that song like ever since I heard it.
Something from My Fair Lady, Wouldn't It Be Lovely, that Eliza sings. And it's a very simple, all I want is a room somewhere. She is dreaming so small, but it's still bigger and more than what she has. And she gets, again, even more than what she ever wanted, and yet it's kind of bittersweet. The only version I've ever seen of My Fair Lady, I've never been seen the movie, is the most recent Broadway revival I saw, Laura Benanti.
I've never seen it at all.
It's very interesting. It is.
This is really showing the basic musical theater-ness.
Exposed. But it's a really, like, that the way that this recent revival of My Fair Lady changed the ending. Instead of staying with Henry Higgins, when she realizes he's not going to change, she just walks out. I think that kind of recontextualizes it. She got what she wanted, but she realized it wasn't worth it if she was not going to be treated with like respect and dignity. So I loved, a family friend saw it on Broadway and she was talking to my mom. She's like, you can't just change the ending like that. But for me, when you're redoing a show in modern times that has been around for so long, you kind of have to we're looking through a modern lens with it, and
we need an update
to see her. If we were to see her be treated badly by him and then to go back to him in the end, and just stay with him, that would have been really frustrating for me as an audience member. So I loved that, and I think it, like, if you go straight back to the I Want song and you reference in those 2 moments where she says, all I want is this, and then she gets it and she walks away from it, I think it's like, I think it adds so much more to that song then.
Yeah. A song that's on my list that I'm not 100% sure is an I Want song, but I think it could be argued because this is a show that changes the perspective of time because there are 2 characters that sing, is I Can Do Better Than That from the last 5 years, an I Want song.
Oh, I think yes.
I think yes, too.
It comes late in the show.
It does, but
because
if you flip the
backwards.
order, then it
backwards.
then it's like song 2 or song 3 if we flipped it.
She's like, I'm not going to settle. I cannot settle.
Exactly. She lists off all of the qualities of a man that she does and does not want, and of previous relationships that she's been in. And then she references her life with Jamie. And I do think that it builds in the same way of a great I Want song. The only thing that is, I would say that in that moment, she is not like dissatisfied with her life, but she references that she is dissatisfied with previous relationships and that she wants this to not make the same mistakes. So in that sense, I do think that it is an I Want song, a great one at that. Obviously, Jason Robert Brown did that, but I think it's an interesting one. Yeah, so not necessarily dissatisfied with her life, but hoping to not make the same mistakes. And yeah, I think it's interesting to think about this song and to reverse the order of the story, because it does in their relationship appear very early when they're getting together. So it's an interesting one to look at.
It's like she's dissatisfied with the status quo or with the expectations of like what the world. She says, I'm not going to do what everyone else is doing or settle for what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something more than that. And so I think it perfectly meets it, but because structurally the show,
it's like the second last song in the musical.
Yeah, it's right at the end. So which means in the timeline, it's right at the beginning.
Yes.
Another one, like very simple, like very classic one from Cinderella, In My Own Little Corner. I can be whatever I want to be. She is in this horrible situation and she's dreaming of this bigger
She's imagining
life.
Being a huntress in an African safari. Like there are many things that she imagines.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And one more that I have is the want to write the perfect song. One Song Glory from Rent.
Yep.
From Rent. Vocally amazing, but this is a specific want.
Yes.
Just to create the perfect piece of art, in his opinion. Now, does he do it? Do we think Your Eyes achieves?
No, Your Eyes is the worst song in all of Rent. Sorry to anyone that loves Rent.
We recently rewatched Rent Live, or we skimmed through Rent Live.
We forgot about so much that happened, and I've never laughed harder when we realized that Adam Pascal sits on the table with Brennan Hunt?
Brennan Hunt? Yeah.
Because obviously he broke his leg, and he
puts his own leg up.
puts his own leg up. Like, what are you doing, Adam? Why did he do that?
In the moment, the original cast, they're hanging out with their counterparts, and Adam Pascal doesn't get to hang with the rest of the cast because his is just stuck on that table. He's just like, yeah, I'm going to put my leg up. Like, your leg is up. It was so funny.
It's so funny. Go back and watch Rent Live just for that moment. I'm going to close it out here with our final, I think, I Want song, and one that I thought we would have chatted about earlier, Waving Through a Window, Dear Evan Hansen.
Of course. That's a good one. It's a good one. We have mixed feelings on DEH, but it's a good one.
I mean, I don't really have that many mixed feelings on DEH until, like, we watch the movie and then, like, re-expose the story. But, like, I will forever say this, that cast recording is incredible, and this song included. It is obviously, again, we've said this the entire episode, Evan just wants to belong. That's literally all that he wants, is to belong.
I'm seeing patterns with what people actually want. It's like everyone kind of wants a very similar thing. And these are like very human things to want, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
I do think
like wanting to belong is a big one.
I mean, obviously this is like, again, mainstream of mainstream, but I think in terms of relatability, Evan's or Waving Through a Window is maybe one of the more relatable songs on this list, because I think a lot of people have had that feeling, whether it's like whatever he's going through, but like entering a new situation or being in high school or whatever it might be and not fitting into that group of people and craving that. And especially when we talk about like, tapping on the glass of our phones and social media. So I do think that that's an interesting one to discuss in like today's age, because I think it's very relevant to how a lot of teenagers might be feeling. I also think we've talked about Waving before. A masterful song. Pasek and Paul like really crafted such an amazing song. Comes so early. And again, that theme, the like, I can't do it, I can't hum it because I don't know exactly like how it is, but you know what I'm talking about. That theme off of the top all the way through the entire show.
Yes. And this is another one, so he sings waving through a window, and then we get at the end of Act 1, You Will Be Found, and there are so many parallels in these songs, and there are parallels even in the choreography, and this is when he's gotten what he's wanted.
Spin out
he's accepted.
and the spin in.
The spin in. He's gotten what he's wanted and he's accepted, but it wasn't in the right way, or it wasn't, you know, true. It wasn't real. And so then kind of living with the consequences of that.
It kind of ends up to be like a devastating I Want song.
It is. It really is devastating. He just wants to be accepted. Like, so many of these, like, the really, like, through line is just wanting, like, acceptance from other people.
Yeah.
It's very devastating. Okay, I said we were done, but there's actually one more. Fade in on a girl.
Yes, I mean, obviously this is not on the real long list because of our rules. It's never musical. Been on stage, but not Let yet. Me Be Your Star is the I Want song of I Want songs.
Yes. I guess any one of these where people are searching for fame, you know, back to Roxy, they just want people to love them. They just want attention. Let Me Be Your Star is perfectly crafted. I think, you know, Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, they know how to craft a song. They know how to craft a song. And it's a perfect one. It's so good.
No, I agree. Like, from both perspectives, we have two women singing literally about what they want in life.
Yes,
and
in Smash and in Bombshell.
This one I would say is like pretty literal to like I want, because it feels that way, but also follows again our like criteria. You know, this is like the first song out of the gate on like episode 1 or 2. We're like way up there early, so an amazing I Want song. Okay, well, I feel like that is the end of our I Want song lists.
If there's any that we missed, like, tweet us, comment on our Instagram. We want to know what we missed. There's many.
There are many, and we will also, as we have for our other ranking episodes, we will create a Spotify playlist with all of these I Want songs, so you can check that out. And with that being said, it is now time for our Obsession of the Week.
So my obsession, in 2021, we lost one of the greatest musical theater writers, Stephen Sondheim, and he will miss his presence in the theater community. But something that I really, really loved was the Instagram account Sondheim Letters that has been sharing all of the letters that Sondheim has sent to people over the years. And I think it really shows kind of how grateful and generous he was in the community to write back to almost everyone. Literally everyone, personally, just on his typewriter, on his letterhead, and everyone sharing these is really, really touching. He was like really, really a generous presence in the theater community, just really willing of his time, really giving of his time, of his advice, of his expertise. And so really going through this entire Instagram account, Sondheim Letters, kind of puts them all in the same place for you to find. I'm going to read out one of my favorites for you today. Dear Mr. Makita, this is from November 18th, 2021, so very, very recent.
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Makita, forgive me, but I don't want to contribute to this kind of show business bullshit. Stephen Sondheim. I'm obsessed. And that I think just captured everying about him.
Was that on letterhead or was that on email?
No, it's on letterhead.
Amazing.
It's on letterhead. Yeah. And then there's a little cartoon on the swipe.
Yeah, squigs.
That's squigs of Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber arm wrestling. It's also so fun to read these because he always thanks people for the compliments. Like, he seems so appreciative of every compliment that he's received. Like, he's not, you know, even in his like latest years, he wasn't jaded by all the success and the compliments. He really appreciated every single one. And then when people would give him criticism, he also seemed to appreciate that. Like, every note was written in good spirit.
Yeah.
Except for the one I just read, but I thought that was funny.
It might have been in like good laughing spirit.
I think it was. But like every time he's so appreciative of anyone, I feel like, listening to his work. So he just comes across as really, really wonderful in all of these letters, and they're really fun to read.
That's great.
And so many people have this memento of him.
Yeah. And those are things that like you keep forever, right? You put that like in a box and you open it and you read it like 10 years from now. It's amazing. My obsession this week is from a 54 Below concert that happened in 2021. And I think we have talked about it on previous episodes, but the Pronoun Showdown was back at 54 Below. And I do think that these are such interesting concerts because when you change a pronoun, it completely alters the song. Very much. The performance that I am obsessed with is Gabby Kruba, who is a Zoe in Dear Evan Hansen, singing Words Fail from Zoe's perspective. When I tell you that it is devastating to listen to it from Zoe's perspective, and this is a song that I think is devastating when Evan sings it, but to hear the other side of it, when she sings, he never meant to make it such a mess. He never thought it would go this far. Mm-hmm. I almost want a reprise of Zoe singing this song because it completely flips the perspective. It becomes so sad. And then, when it gets to our favorite part of the song, when it just
the waving through a window kind of reprise.
Yes, and she flips it from I to we, speaking as the family. Like when it gets to the catharsis part of the song, she switches it from no, I'd rather pretend I'm something better than these broken parts to no, we'd rather pretend we're something better than these broken parts, pretend we're something other than this mess that we are. And it's like, we know that the underlying tone of the message of the show, however your thoughts and opinions on Dear Evan Hansen, are that everyone needed it for something. And when you hear Zoe sing this song, although not intended to be written this way, I think it really punches in on the fact that they might have needed this. This was something that they needed. And then also, when we get to that waving moment and then after the waving moment of what if everyone saw, what if everyone knew, would they like what they saw? She didn't change that. She kept that to her, as in, what if everyone saw what happened with our family? What if everyone knew what we went along with as well? I was beside myself with the way that this performance came across. I also think that Gabby is such an incredible singer. I haven't heard many of what she's done. I've seen clips here and there, but she really in this 54 Below show was acting her way through and it was devastating to watch and I loved every second of it. I mean, another shout out from this specific Pronoun Showdown, Antonio Cipriano singing Michael in the Bathroom from Jeremy's perspective.
Oh, wow.
Super cool. It's
that
really
cool.
interesting when you flip a simple word as I and you and he and me. It's just, I love it. I hope that they continue the Pronoun Showdowns because the very first one that I watched was Ryan McCartan singing Dead Girl Walking, which turned into a consent song, which is amazing to completely flip that perspective. So I hope that they continue these. I don't know who's responsible. I know that Ben Rowla does the piano for all the Pronoun Showdowns, but whoever's writing these lyrics, I also love that everyone that's up there has to have the lyrics because they're not the original. I'm sure it's very confusing. Yes, sure especially for confusing. Gabby, who is in Dear Evan Hansen, obviously doesn't sing Words Fail, but she knows the song. She's heard it for many, many years. So to have to flip that is difficult. So yeah, that's my obsession for this week. And that is our I Want songs. As we've said on previous ranking episodes, please let us know if there are any other songs to rank. We are thinking of tearjerkers. I threw out Act 2 openers the other day. Yeah. There's a few others on our list, but I love going through these because it's interesting to think of the actual composition of a song and why people write what they do. Yes. Something these are so different because Act 2 openers always hits in the same spot in a show, whereas I Want songs are open to her interpretation. Tearjerkers is a completely different category because it could be literally any song. Well, that's fully what makes you feel something. Yeah, and everybody has different. It's very subjective. It's subjective. Yes, 100%. So as we've said, if you if there are any I Want songs that we have missed, please let us know, and you can do that by following us on Instagram and Twitter at Off to Be Away Podcast with the number 2. And you can listen to us anywhere podcasts are found, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can even subscribe to us on YouTube to see our beautiful faces while we rant about I Want songs. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.